Welcome back to the deep dive. For years, AI felt like something theoretical, didn't it? Something for the labs, maybe some white papers.
Yeah, definitely more concept than reality for most people.
Exactly. But that time, it's clearly over. We're now firmly in this era where AI is moving out of the sandbox.
Right into action, proactive autonomous action, making decisions.
That's the core of it. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We're going deep on what's happening right now in Southeast Asia. It's such a critical region for tech adoption, moving incredibly
They're a
fast.
real hotspot.
Totally. We've gathered the sources, looking at the adoption patterns, the key ways businesses are actually using it, and maybe most importantly, the leadership challenges cropping up around this new thing. They're calling it agentic intelligence.
And we really need to nail down that definition right up front. Because this isn't just the automation we've known. It's significantly more advanced.
Okay, so what is agentic intelligence exactly?
Think of it as AI with delegated authority. It's goal-seeking. It takes the initiative. It automates complex decisions pretty much independently.
So it acts for you.
Precisely. It acts on your behalf. It's not just passively processing data anymore.
Can you give an example, like practical one?
Sure. Imagine processing a loan application. Older automation might just check the fields. Agentic AI. It processes the application, sure, but then it also simultaneously checks, say, 10 different risk databases for any red flags.
Okay.
Then it generates a risk summary report and maybe even proactively schedules the necessary compliance review with the legal team.
All without a human clicking
Right.
next step.
Exactly. No human prompting needed for that sequence. That's the kind of active autonomous support we're talking about. It's a big leap.
Okay, that distinction is crucial. So for you listening, we're trying to cut through the hype here, find the practical stuff. Where is this active tech actually being used in SEA? What's the real value it's delivering today? And maybe more interestingly, what are those unexpected roadblocks? The things that aren't just about budget, but are proving trickier to solve.
Yeah, the sticky points.
Let's dive into the data then, because the speed, the sheer velocity of adoption in Southeast Asia, it's kind of staggering.
It really is.
The sources all point to SEA being a really fast adopter, and it seems driven by these big digital transformation pushes, plus, a generally younger, very tech-savvy workforce.
Oh, absolutely. And the numbers really back that up. If we look at that IDC study UiPath commissioned, it gives a very clear picture right now.
Okay, what did it find?
Get this. 42% of organizations in Southeast Asia told them they've already implemented some form of agentic AI.
Wow, 42% already in. That's higher than I might have guessed.
It's significant, but look at the pipeline. An additional 44% said they plan to adopt it within the next 12 months.
Okay, so you add those up, that's nearly everyone, very quickly.
We're talking about it becoming almost a universal standard across the region, and fast. And just to underline that push, 79% of companies are actively developing AI use cases for deployment like right now.
Right, so the message is pretty clear then. We're definitely past the maybe someday phase. This isn't future tech anymore.
Not at all.
Agentic intelligence is basically the immediate operational reality, or about to be for most companies there.
But, and this is important, the speed is one thing. As we'll probably get into, the governance around it, that's turning out to be the real differentiator.
Good point. Okay, so if they're adopting it this quickly, where's the value? Where are they actually seeing results? Let's look at the what's working side. Because the evidence suggests it's not just about efficiency, it's actually augmenting business judgment, right, in some quite important areas.
It is, yeah. And the data shows pretty clearly where that augmentation is hitting hardest. The top 3 uses, they all seem to revolve around handling massive speed and volume.
Makes sense. What are they?
Leading the pack, actually tied, both at a 58% adoption rate. First, customer support automation. Handling complex routing, resolving issues faster,
Okay.
and tied with that, risk and fraud detection. Huge volume there.
Right. Perfect for AI pattern spotting. And the third,
Just slightly behind, at 56% adoption, is more general productivity enhancement across the whole company.
to using it for various tasks to free people up.
Exactly. These specific areas are where companies are seeing that immediate ROI because they involve these high-volume, sort of repeatable processes that really benefit from the AI's initiative and speed.
And are they actually measuring the impact? It's not just gut feeling?
Oh, yeah, they are. The survey specifically asked about measurable gains. Get this. 75% of organizations said AI has improved their decision quality.
3 out of 4. That's That's impressive, improving the actual decisions being made.
It is, and that seems to tie directly back to productivity as well.
Uh,
72% of companies are seeing measurable gains in overall workforce productivity.
so it's not just faster, it's better and frees up time.
That's the picture emerging. These applications, like flagging potential fraud or routing complex customer issues, they show agentic AI taking over specific functions where, honestly, the system can often outperform human consistency at that scale.
But there's always a but, isn't there?
There usually is. That enthusiasm, that rapid adoption, it does seem to hit a very real wall when companies try to scale these initiatives up. Which brings us to the necessary reality check.
Okay. What are the hurdles?
They're significant, and interestingly, they seem to split pretty evenly. You've got the technical and cost issues, as you'd expect, but then there are these maybe less expected cultural hurdles.
So let's start with the technical ones. What are the big blockers there?
Okay, the top three cited are pretty major concerns.
Hmm.
First, data privacy breaches, 51%. Listed that. Big worry.
Understandable.
Then, security vulnerabilities that came in at 48%, and right alongside it, also 48%. It's just the sheer implementation costs.
Right. So data, security, costs, the usual suspects for big tech rollouts needing serious investment to fix.
Exactly. Those are, standard, costly challenges with any massive, sensitive new technology. Solvable with resources, mostly.
But you mentioned other hurdles, the cultural ones. Are those the ones proving tougher, maybe?
That's what the sources seem to suggest. These are the cultural and communication gaps.
Yeah.
A lot of organizations just don't seem to have the internal structure ready for this kind of AI.
Like what specifically?
Well, things like a persistent lack of clear AI governance frameworks. Who decides the rules? Who's accountable?
Right.
Also, not enough internal training or sort of onboarding plans for staff. How do they actually work with these agents? And crucially, a real lack of transparent communication. Just explaining what the AI's role is, what its boundaries are.
And without that clarity.
Well, that's where you get resistance.
Right.
There was one case the researchers mentioned. Employees started calling the new agent system the Terminator in their internal chat.
Seriously, the Terminator.
Yeah, because they just didn't understand its function. They assumed it was purely there to replace them. That's how fast trust can just, evaporate without clear governance and communication.
Wow. So that lack of transparency, it's not just a nice to have, it has real consequences.
Direct, detrimental ones. If you don't communicate properly, you can quickly trigger both employee resistance, mostly fueled by fear, like the Terminator thing, and also deep customer skepticism. Customers feel like they're dealing with some unregulated black box.
So governance isn't just about ticking compliance boxes. It's fundamental for trust, both internally and externally.
Absolutely. It's the foundation.
Which leads right into what seems like the core debate for leaders right now. Should this agentic AI totally replace human decisions in some areas, or should it just enhance them? That whole augment versus replace dilemma. And while augmentation sounds, safer, didn't the sources also mention pressure? Like from boards maybe, to just cut costs and automate entire roles away? How do leaders square that efficiency drive with the need for human oversight?
Yeah, that tension is definitely real. But honestly, based on the technology's inherent limits right now, the smart strategic answer has to lean heavily towards augmentation.
Why is that?
Well, while the AI is fantastic at high-volume task detection, routing, processing, and speed, it still fundamentally lacks, human nuance, empathy, creative reasoning, contextual understanding.
The soft skills, basically.
Exactly. And their skills often require human oversight. We have to remember the danger here. It's delegating responsibility without ensuring human accountability.
Right. Even if it's almost perfect.
Precisely.
Well,
Even if an AI system nails, say, 99% of fraud detection cases, that remaining 1%, it needs human judgment.
Yeah.
It needs context.
yeah.
And crucially, someone needs to be accountable when a decision goes wrong or has an unforeseen consequence. The AI can't truly be accountable.
Which puts the ball firmly back in the court of leadership, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
The sources seem really clear that the biggest job for leaders isn't just buying the tech, it's figuring out how to communicate these AI initiatives, how to talk to staff in a way that builds trust, not fear.
That's the crux of it.
And did the sources offer solutions? Like concrete strategies for doing that?
Yes, several powerful ones came up repeatedly. Things like real transparency about what the system does and doesn't do, robust upskilling programs showing staff how they can work with these AI agents, like as co-pilots, rather than being replaced by them.
Okay, so training for collaboration.
Exactly. And providing open forums, like Q&A sessions, where employees can actually voice their concerns, ask the hard questions, and understand the bigger picture, the arc of change.
So it's much less a technical rollout.
And much more a sophisticated change management project. The human element is paramount.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this. If you had to state the single biggest takeaway from all the sources we looked at today.
I'd say it's this. AI, especially agentic AI, isn't just another technology deployment. It's more fundamental. It's a shift in how people work, how decisions get made, how value is even defined in the workplace.
And therefore?
Therefore, the absolute core of a successful agentic AI strategy isn't the tech itself, it's actually a communications challenge.
Hmm.
Getting the human part right.
I think that's spot on. The organizations that are going to lead this transition in SEA and probably everywhere else are the ones that really master that human element.
Mm-hmm. The ones that deploy AI with clear governance and ethics defined right from the start.
Right, and actively train their staff not just about AI, but on how to co-work with it effectively.
And maybe the most critical piece, communicate that whole massive operational shift
Yeah.
with real clarity and empathy, understanding the anxieties and bringing people along.
So let's wrap this deep dive up by bringing it back to you, our listener. We've talked about the danger of just passively accepting this stuff.
Yeah, just letting it happen.
Given the incredible speed of adoption we're seeing, especially in regions like Southeast Asia, and the sheer complexity of these new agentic systems, what specific steps do you need to take, whether you're a leader or just a curious professional caught up in this?
How do you avoid that danger we mentioned, delegating responsibility without oversight?
Exactly. As these systems get woven deeper into your daily workflow, think about your own role. Are you actively questioning or checking the agent's complex outputs? Or are you just trusting the automated result because it's faster?
That question, that personal check on ultimate accountability, that really defines success and maybe even safety in this new era of agentic intelligence.
Something important to think about. That's all for this deep dive.